Good evening, guys. How are we all doing? So Dan from Trading with Dan here. This is our Bitcoin evening wrap. So if you guys don't mind smashing that like button, and we'll go straight over to those Bitcoin charts. So Bitcoin holding up for the time being quite nicely in this 16k handle zone, 16k area. So obviously, this is looking good. This was the most likely scenario. This was my bias this morning, just based on formation, regardless of the 4-hour 9 that we had. It was looking like it would push up. We are now into this zone where realistically this is the next resistance. And well, if we're going to make our way up to here, obviously expect some sort of selling pressure to come in under this on the underside of this resistance. But this is a pretty wild zone, so we are either going to get some big moves, some big wicks, and then potentially back down price action, or we're actually just gonna trade sideways and consolidate above this midway point, and then obviously try and build up some more momentum to the upside after a bit of sideways. That is I think is the most likely scenario. Obviously it is it not Friday tomorrow, is it? I don't even know what day it is. What day is it tomorrow? I was going to say it is Friday. So yeah, it is Friday tomorrow. It is indeed. So yeah, Friday tomorrow. So we will be obviously close to the weekend and weekend range in price action. But yeah, we are obviously at a point where do we consolidate and hold above this sort of midpoint of this range, 16k level, or are we gonna drop below and then start to see a more prolonged downward movement back towards 14k? Obviously we've got traditional markets open tomorrow, but then obviously we won't over the next 2 days. Dollar index, as you can see, it has it did what we were looking for it to potentially do, bounce off obviously the trend line, and test it as support. So we had it as resistance, breakthrough, now test it as support, and now moving back up. So this is the point where we get back above this horizontal, get back above any of these highs, and we will start to look relatively bullish. Obviously you can draw you could either draw it as an ascending wedge or an ascending just an ascending channel. We'll actually draw it on as an ascending wedge, because obviously ascending wedges are bearish formations for the most part, for the statistical chance of what is most likely the most likely direction for it to break out in. So ascending wedge here does look pretty nice as an ascending wedge. Do we get one test back up to the top side of the wedge and this horizontal, and then come down and break and lose it and make a move to the downside? It would look perfectly normal in the context of the price action if we did do that. Yeah, so there you go. Or do we break out to the top and then move upwards like we did? We had an assault of an ascending wedge. I mean, this is very much looking like a fractal of this. We did break out at the top, coming back in, and then obviously move down. But yeah, ascending wedge in the DXY potentially. Obviously, if this drops out, that is going to get us up to about over 17k, I would have thought, in Bitcoin, if that does happen. So yeah, as usual, all eyes on the dollar. Stocks as well. Stocks looking a little bit weaker here. We were looking good to hold this level and try and push on, but not today. We're getting a bit of selling in S&P. So obviously this is our next level here to potentially get support to that, and then decide if we want to bounce off that, or if we are going to have a larger move down. I mean, you just got to look at it. Up, down, up, down, up. You probably are looking at a retest of the midpoint of this overall move. So I mean, that's well into this zone here, and even the 618 of this move will be roughly down towards this support here. So I mean, we don't have to. We can keep going up in a straight line, but we do know that's not the most likely scenario for price action. But yeah, I mean, it would look normal for us to come down there. But even if we're going to stay relatively bullish and hold this line at least, if not higher, turn back up, and then that will look good. Speaking of things that haven't necessarily turned bearish yet, here is the Bitcoin dominance. So I have been emphasizing the fact in recent videos, as you guys will know, that we are not anywhere near in a confirmed downtrend yet. We did have this level we wanted to break, and we did obviously then want to accelerate down to this level and break this level, but we didn't manage to overcome the first hurdle, bounced off that, and then managed to break above the top of this potential descending triangle. So we are fast approaching on a 4-hour 9 the resistance again. I mean, this is when it will start to look like we could be definitely looking for a downtrend now. We have a nice effort push up. We don't necessarily take out this high, don't take out the trend line, come back down, then take out this out, and then that would be a lot more convincing start of a downtrend in the Bitcoin dominance than just this move straight back down, obviously after a massive move up. So that is what we're looking for. Obviously all bets are off if you break this trend line, all bets are off if you take out this high. So yeah, I mean, we've got to keep an eye on this again. I don't feel like rallies up in Bitcoin are as potentially as good if Bitcoin dominance is going up quite a bit as well. I feel like it's money coming out of alts into Bitcoin is part of it. Obviously not all of it, but it's part of it, and that's we want new money, we want new cash coming in. Yeah, I'm sure we do have some. I don't actually have any metrics for this. I'm sure we do have new capital coming in, but we do also have capital getting sucked out of the altcoins. How are gold and silver doing today? Silver, as you can see, back in the 24s, it does seem to have an affinity for the 24 handle silver, as you can see from a lot of recent price action. We do appear to holding a higher low formation here, obviously in these here. So if we can put in higher high, take out this high, which actually is about 26. If we get back into 26s, then yeah, I'd expect silver to go bullish. If we do come down again, take out this low. Well, it's quite a bit lower than price. I mean, the range is quite wide in this, but yeah, if you take out this, I'd expect more continuation to the downside. But again, that will follow realistically the inverse direction of the DXY. Gold as well. Gold not looking as good here. It looks like it's putting up as a fight here. So if these bears don't get paid, we will probably get a squeeze back up again, and then potential selling coming in again at one of these resistances. And if we can overcome that selling, and then yeah, onwards and upwards. How is Tesla doing? How is Tesla? I do know the Nasdaq had an all right day today. Yeah, I mean, Tesla not looking particularly fantastic. But I will caveat that with we're just in a tightening formation, obviously off a nice move up. So continuation to the upside, or we're going to come down. This is more so though how you can see we could end up with a move down, and compare this to the Bitcoin dominance chart. Realistically, initially we're only here in the first pullback, and then we bounce back up, pull back. I mean, we can trade in this zone for a while. If I show you, yeah, I mean, look, we could trade in this zone for a while before potentially dropping down. We may even form a descending triangle in this Bitcoin dominance and then break down. But yeah, I mean, it clearly there's no massive rush to basically get straight into alts. Ethereum also, well, we did break out the top. We had a nice move up, and we've now basically fully retraced that. Again, is this a back test of this trend line? A back test? Well, it's not. We didn't break this support here, but is it a back test of the trend line? I mean, we tested it once properly, bounced off it, and we're coming down for a second swipe. So, I mean, again, this does tie into the Bitcoin dominance. It's not looking the most bullish for Ethereum here. It's not looking the most bullish. I mean, it could. It's not looking bad. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not necessarily looking as good. And we do appear to be having a rising channel here as well, but I won't draw that in and further clutter the chart. But this could just be a back test, and then a bounce, then a move back up, in much the same way we did get in the breaking out of the dollar. I believe it was. Well, we can see one here actually. You break out your back test, then you bounce back up. It was this one, I believe. Yeah, exactly this. Yeah, you break out your back test, and then you pump back up. So we could be that could be what we are looking at here in Ethereum. A breakout, a back test, and then literally off to the races. And that would obviously coincide with some downward action in BTC dominance. If we are going to get rejected here and come back down for another sweep of these lows, then yeah, I mean, you would expect Ethereum to get a move on and have that basically that move off the back test. So yeah, that is that. So back to Bitcoin. Let's have a look at the daily, see if anything. I mean, it's just looking bullish. This is looking very good here on the daily, as you can see. Looking good. I mean, there is nothing up until we get to around here. So, yeah, I mean, we are through. We are looking good. We have obviously got a nice trend. So, you wouldn't want to stand in between, obviously, Bitcoin and about 17.4. Because it does look like it could potentially tap that. So let's have a look at the buy daily also. Buy daily 9, but we are trading above it and holding above it, obviously below it, which would be about 15k. quite a range, quite a long way from price action. Then yeah, potentially see continuation down to 14k and maybe even further than that if that was to happen. Obviously 3-day just looking ridiculous, just looking like just looking great basically, and weekly looking great also. The bi-weekly, let's have a look at that bi-weekly 9. Just look, it's just perfect. Bi-weekly 9, sideways to down, break back above it, onwards and upwards. It's just absolute textbook. So we've got basically 6 more sets of 2-week periods before we end up getting a sell-off again, in which case it'll probably be about 30k. Jobs are good, and guys, we'll just leave it at that. I'll speak to you guys in about 2 months, and we'll just have a look at what basically happened. Yeah, just kidding. But yeah, I mean, realistically, again, I will just reiterate what I'm expecting us to trade within this wider range, but potentially oscillating between the bottom half and the top half. So if we get into the top half, play out some range here, potentially come down and trade out the bottom part again. That is what I'm looking at. So we are well within the remit of what I pretty much am expecting. So yeah, I mean, easily get acceleration up to around this level. We'll get people FOMOing in, potentially some wicks through here. But I struggle to see them not getting heavily sold into. But yeah, I think we need some accumulation at this zone, I think, at these highs, and also some distribution as well. I mean, it might sound that's not how Wyckoff works, but yeah, I mean, some people will be wanting to sell, some people will be wanting to buy, and yeah, we'll just trade sideways. And I guess that's accumulation of the people that want to buy. I always find it interesting how you get accumulation and distribution, because it's like if someone's buying, there's someone selling, and someone's selling, someone's buying. So it has to basically balance, doesn't it? I guess the way they look at it is it must just be the fact they think the smarter people are buying, accumulating, and the smarter people are distributing, because obviously when every trade there is an opposite side. So yeah, maybe we will get some, yeah, I mean, realistically, let's hope it's accumulation by the smarter players, and then we'll get a markup. Wyckoff style. So one look at the one last thing one look at the stochastics. Are we getting cooked yet or not? I suspect we're not, but we'll have a whiz through. Yeah, 4 hours, got plenty of room to run. 10 hour is looking strong though. Obviously it's running out of runway, but it is looking strong. Yeah, 12 hour is pointing up technically, but not necessarily looking spectacular. And then yeah, daily and 2-day and 3-day had all turned up, hadn't they? Look, all crossed back up, so they're going to stay jammed up there. 5-day out, obviously up, looking absolutely fantastic. Weekly also, and bi-weekly actually looking good, and monthly looking good. So I can confirm that we are in an uptrend. That's basically what we can see. And yeah, so this is what I mean. You'd be a brave man to not bet on Bitcoin getting up to this level before any sort of serious pullback. That is all I'll say. And getting up to that level and then a pullback and continuing in this range, again, is my guess. It's my crystal ball guess. So yeah, that is it, guys. So remember, this is not a financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research. And yeah, I'll speak to you guys in the morning.